you know, there's this moment where I press go live and you just don't know if it's happening. You just don't know. And you have this gap in time with people. And, you know, and then you figure out that you're live. Like right now, figure out I'm live. But you're looking at some sort of eclipsey type of something, like some sort of like some eclipse feature up here on the screen. An eclipse feature somewhere up on the screen. So while I test the beginning of the stream with this imaging, you'll let me know if you hear and see things correctly, if it's working at all, and we'll go from that's ear-shattering, piercing loud there. That's a test for you. You hear me? Good to see some of you in chat. Hello, Gemini Rising. Good evening. Look at those glyphs you have there. You have some glyphs. You have some glyphs going on. That's me staring at an eclipse. That is an eclipse. That's what's coming your way on the forecast. That's an eclipse. And that is me. So welcome. Welcome. What's up? What's up? I see people coming into the broadcast. Today, I will be talking about the transits for the week. There's some good stuff, interesting stuff to talk about. I'm testing my sound and visuals because I'm testing things. I am dealing with an interesting situation technology-wise right now. So if this makes it through, that's great. And there's other things you won't know I'm doing in the background because I'm pushing my technological resources to a point on purpose. So I want to say hi to the people here in chat right now before I get going. While I wait for other people, I don't know if anybody else could come in today, but Gemini Rising, good evening. Love the glyphs. James Sanders, what's up? Good evening. Jendi, hi. Esmeralda, good to see you. And you here. That's great. Sam says, hey, finally able to catch one of your lives. How are you? How am I? I'm going to be hungry after this. And yeah, so Jendi, okay, thanks for the acknowledgement that everything's running the way it should. I have to test a couple things here to make sure I'm in line. I got to make, by the way, whenever I'm streaming tonight, and if I'm somehow like this talking the whole time, then you say something in the chat, go, hey, you're not in the screen kind of thing. So, hey, Hoffman. Hi, hello. Hello. So tonight, I'm going to talk about 4 to 5 things this week, I think. We got a big full moon coming up on Friday. Big full moon. And Tiffany P., welcome to the live stream. It's going to be an hour and just over that, if anything, because I'm very busy right now and I'm juggling a lot of things. I wanted to make a recorded full moon video for Friday, but I just don't have time. I still could pull something off here before Friday, but there's other things I need to do first. So hence the live stream. And yeah, it's while I'm doing this, just for people watching, why do I still have this stuff on the screen? I just could go here. So September 24th here, I started at 5:45 p.m. And I'm looking at the chat. Gemini Rising, I'm trying to read what you put there. It's your birthday at some point here. Libra Sun, 5th house, 8 degrees. Oh, yeah, not quite yet, but it's happening. Alex D, hello. Hello. You know, let's just take a look at when I'm starting this thing. This eclipse doesn't want to go away, does it? It's like I could delete it. I could delete the eclipse right now, but it's still brewing. It's still going to happen. Whether you could see it or not, it's still going to go down. It's still going to happen. So pretty much this week is a crossover story that's happening, I would say, with what you see here is coming our way, and there's segments here. One that's happening today, actually, that is feeding this eclipse story. And I'm going to get to that in a second. But hey, why don't I just get to it now? You know, here is 5:50 p.m. For the chart right now, Pacific time, and the moon just went into Aquarius not too long ago. Gotta say that because there was a Moon-Pluto conjunction this afternoon, which I like to make a point of. But we want to point out something here that's, I think, we're still in the place of, and it has to do with Mars here. You could see in Libra and Chiron and Aries, and they're having an exact opposition as we speak. It happened officially not too long ago today. This is happening here, but something happened yesterday. And Venus, this is still going on. Venus had its own connection to Chiron, and here at 18 degrees, and we will look at Venus at 19. And so they're having this harmonious relationship of healing for the third time this weekend that's been a presence this whole summer. And it's the last time Venus in Leo is going to touch Chiron and Aries, and it's there, but then it's still here. At the same time, we have this opposition here that really sets off, I think, the true story of the next month. And it has to do with the transition of Venus eventually leaving Leo and going into Virgo. Chat, Elena Crawford, hello. Shani Nicole, good to see you too. Good to see you too, my friend. So yeah, we have this wounded story on another level here. And it just so happens that there's a Venus connection with Chiron and a Trine, good flowing way of helping and healing, and the expression of that healing and using wounds as power and empowerment and the basis for creative expression in this long story that Venus and Leo has had. And at the same time, Mars is rubbing up raw. I'm going to put my mic a little bit further away from me for a test here, by the way, so you let me know if it's still good. So Mars is rubbing up raw against Chiron here. And we just have this interesting story. The story that it's always been, which is a Venus-Mars story that's happening. And been happening for a couple of years now because of the eclipses. And has entered in a new realm because the eclipses have happening in the sign of Aries, ruled by Mars, and Libra, ruled by Venus. And so you see the interesting chapters here because there's healing going on with Venus in a fire ego way, but then in a mental, communicative, mental, political way, the politics of relationship, Libra. There is some sort of clash happening right now, and it's a setup for the next month. And so, Sarah Medlin, good to see you, my friend. I see you in chat. Welcome. So this is what's happening as I'm doing this stream. And I think the Chiron wound story, wherever it is in your chart, in this case, we're dealing with Aries, Libra, is connected to the eclipses that are going to happen here in several weeks. It's connected to the full moon that I'm going to talk about here that happens on this Friday. It's connected to Pluto in Capricorn, which is at 27 degrees right now, right here, because Mars will eventually square Pluto coming soon here. So we have the opening, one of the opening chapters and shots here happening, and it's a funky one. It's a weird one because Chiron gets love and exchanges healing love with Venus, but there's a relationship political thing that's going on that Libra tries to push and pull with or dance around, and Libra, Chiron and Aries sees through that shit. So my opinion. But again, you see here how close, hello circle, let's add a circle, how close this is, how close Mars is to the node. Now, I don't want to talk about the October transits per se right now because I like to do a video on that and stuff, but I'm just telling you, point this out this weekend. If you caught anything interesting with Chiron and the Aries part of your chart, if you have Chiron and Aries, or in general, Chiron stuff, the Libra part of your chart, you can catch something here, and it's a preface to a bigger story that will be coming your way. So I wanted to just point that out. And speaking of healing, let's start off the stream ritualistically that way. And I'll do it like this. Sometimes I say read stuff from a book or whatever else. Super Lucky Kitty, what's up? How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. Ritualistically, I start off things like here. Isn't that beautiful? It's like the sun. Doesn't it look like the sun? It looks like the sun, which equal light, equal day, equal darkness, whatever. Anyway, happy equinox, everybody, because that's what we're an equinox weekend too. We're changing of the seasons. And if I had to talk about anything here, it's an initiatory phase here where the cardinal sign Libra is going to initiate something. And I think here, by the time we get into mid-October, you're going to know exactly how fast and things are going to start to move. But here we're in a push-pull aspect here still, with a lot of planets retrograde on the outside, but Venus, Mars, and Mercury moving forward, especially Mercury. So let's start off with someone I've showcased on this stream before, and it's close to my world and that I honor and respect, and it's brought so much lovely smells into my life. I got tins of this different stuff of Hermes of Valis.com, her stuff. And, a long time ago, not a long time ago, in June, I did a stream where I talked about this website and this practitioner, but I did it on purpose because it was the beginning of Venus and Leo. It was the beginning of Venus and Leo. And since we're getting into the end of this, and you could see when this one was elected, by the way, is Sun, Mercury, and Libra. And that's part of the reason why I'm picking this tonight, because of this. So, but you could see Hermes Savalas, brilliant astrologer, tarot practitioner. I do some electional astrology, but anybody of my deep electional clients that want something deep, I send them to Hermes Savalas, to Dasman. So we're going to start off with some Venus and Leo, because a big part of what I'm going to talk about towards the end of the stream has to do with a final chapter for Venus and Leo. And there we go. And how we started talking about Venus connecting with Chiron. So I'm lighting this for various reasons. There's the obvious ones, and I'm also sending out a blessing. All right? So Venus and Leo, do your thing, girl. You're looking good now after this change. And when we get to, I'm going to jump right into the transits. We're going to talk about a big, huge moment that's going to happen this weekend with Venus and Leo, and that we fully should take advantage of at this point. So I'm moving some stuff here to make myself somewhat comfortable here. So that moment actually isn't on the weekend. It's going to talk about this wild full moon. So let's get to it. All right. Good to see you all in chat. Welcome everybody who's watching online, not in chat. That's cool. If you don't know who I am, I'm Sparkles of Gold. My name is Nicolas Polimenakos. I do these streams on the fly, and I do a bunch of other stuff. I'm an astrologer. I'm a human being, and I'm wacky. And there's a part of me that's unstable. Always, really. Since I came out of the womb, there's a part of me that I hide, a very deep part of me that I hide that only the closest people know to me, and I have to keep that boundary. Because here, when I look at you and I talk to you, I am present, and it's sacred to me, and it's a ritual. But you can't show everything. You must keep a little bit or more than a little bit of mystery in your life. And at the same time, while I'm honest and open with you, I'm always going to keep a bit of mystery. Now, let's do this. All right, let's put a chart up on the screen. Here is what I was just talking about. And, you know, we're leading into something that's already happening here. And I'll just use this chart to do it, because I'll move the chart up here in a second. After I talked about Mars Chiron, or I've talked about Venus Chiron here, we want to pay attention to Mercury here and use an arrow instead of a circle, Nicholas, and go right here to 14 degrees Virgo. Mercury's starting to move ahead now. It's picking up. Mercury's starting to pick up speed as of last Wednesday, slowly, coming out of a retrograde. And we want to point out and look towards a retrograde Jupiter in Taurus. And Mandy in chat says, such a great reminder, Nicholas. I've pulled back a lot and it's nice. Yeah, you gotta give yourself a break. You gotta call that out for yourself, you know, and let me just tell myself something. Nicholas, you need to take a break. You are overloaded right now. You can't tell everybody why, but you're overloaded. And where Leo is in my chart is in my 4th house of home. And that overloading will hopefully pass by the mid-month of October. I have to tell myself that. And point out to this Mercury at 14 degrees and the 14-degree Jupiter. Basically, what we have at this moment while we're doing a live stream is we have a waxing aspect happening, that Mercury is forming a trine with Jupiter in Taurus. This happened not too long ago, retrograde Mercury. This is another chance, and it's a beautiful one for the Earth parts of your chart, for the Virgo part of your chart, and for the Jupiter part of your chart. We talk about the word and details with Mercury and how precise the details and how efficiently it can run at home in the sign of Virgo. Now it's starting to brew up. And then you have Jupiter and Taurus, even though it's retrograde, that magnifies this. And here, the way I think about this, and I'm just going to turn it into this. This is positive thinking. You need some of this right now. Do you need some positive influence, positive thoughts, positive formulations? The concoctions and formulations that a Mercury in Virgo is going to go reach over onto their shelf of efficiency and healing through the body, through the systems of the body. Your mind's part of the system, your nervous system, all these various systems that make up our human selves that we're walking around in an earth organic way. Here, Jupiter and Mercury have this flow here, and there is an innate knowledge that comes through. And I'm thinking positive because it's Jupiter. Even though Jupiter is retrograde, we dig this, we want this uplifting, philosophical, positive mindset. And however the way you do it or choose to do it, speak your mantra. You know how I do it? I like washing dishes. It clears my brain. It's my Zen place. There's a bunch of other Zen places. I have them on a list. That's a joke for my Mercury and Virgo people. But anyway, you can make up a list of Zen places. I'm sure with Jupiter there, you can come up with 20 places. But inherently, we're talking about positive. I don't care about the last 50 years of a positive mind movement, New Age movement. Gets a bad rap. Humans, whenever they touch something in mass, they just mess with it. Inherently, initially, what's happened to Western civilization, United States, what's happened with positive mindset, clearing your brain, influenced by Eastern philosophy, Zen philosophy, stuff coming out of the East. All of us in the 50s and 60s, it infused itself, and then everybody took acid and whatever, and it's changed. But then corporate whatever taken a hold of it and turned it into something else. All you got to do is scroll down your TikTok feed and your Instagram feed to know exactly what I'm talking about here. I don't give a shit. even after all that, I don't care. I'm like telling you, Mercury, Jupiter in Taurus. This is deep. Deep in your bones, good and positive. So, you take the positive thinking, positive mindset, the detailed mindset running efficiently with Mercury and Virgo and Jupiter and Taurus. You could plant some stuff here too. And it really, I think, comes to a place where it's a quest, and a quest for meaning in one's own life. It's the insights to that quest, the stepping stones to a quest like that happen with a Mercury and Virgo trine Jupiter and Taurus. Now, I'm hyping this up, which is good. You got a little bit of a hit of this because during the Mercury retrograde, you might have had to review this positive type of mindset or what that actually means in one's life. Or you forgot how to do it. So here we are. You get to do it. No judgment. We're taking the judgment out in the guilt trip game, Virgos. The dark side of Virgo. It's not about that. It's the other side. We're feeling good and this is flowing. If it isn't, let's say, and you happen to be like still off with it, I would take a look at like maybe still the overthinking part of things. So like, for instance, even though on paper this is a trine, a Mercury-Jupiter trine, we still, with trines, it's kind of funny because it gets a little lazy and it needs application. So it's like a flexing of a muscle thing and it becomes really easy, but you have to flex the muscle. And here is a good habit to instill or to fulfill here because we're talking about Virgos, these little things, chop wood, carry water type of stuff. But if it isn't rooted, let's say, and then the clue sometimes would be that there's a overthinking and even an over-exaggerated mind flow or a mind story or some kind of thing or over-exaggeration of words, but there's no action and organic earth pillars that would withhold it. The ground is not fed, like the soil of Jupiter and Taurus doesn't have its water there and it's dry, so it's not growing from there. So that's what I mean by rooted. So you could check that too. We're not going to drive ourselves crazy and call ourselves guilt trip because of this, but if it isn't flowing for it, take care of the soil. You feel me? Take care of the soil so Mercury can flow. And so then things aren't over exaggerated or blown out of your mind. And sometimes taking care of the soil and pouring and treating the soil is something very simple as, am I overblown in my mind right now? So this is another way for a Mercury-Jupiter trying to work is nothing actually. And can you put yourself in a place of chill and start there? And with that, then maybe slowly at your pace and the refinement of the system, that the knowledge, the knowledge that comes through feeds the positive thinking and the quest for meaning. So that is, let's see where my brain has been today. It's pretty good for me. So that's what's happening here on Monday, officially at 5:09 a.m. It's happening now, and it's 5:09 a.m. Pacific, Monday the 25th, and along with an Aquarian moon that's coming through. So I just wanted to say that, to do that really quick. I also want to, I mentioned this candle, Hermes of Alice.com. I got to drop that in the chat. I forgot, because if I'm going to promo shiz, I have to be cool and really follow through. And plus, that's another thing I'm working on, is following through on things. I'm mutable, but I do follow through on things. I'm not that big of a flake. I got a Taurus rising, Saturn in the first. So like, trust me, like, dude, I follow through, man. I mean it. When you go to my profile on Instagram, you're gonna see truth, honor, loyalty, love, and it's no bullshit. That's how I run. And when I don't run that way, trust me, I beat myself up for it. I'm gonna drop this in the chat, and there it is. So, all right, let's go. Let's keep going. NZ Beer Babe, I see you in chat. James, thanks for stopping in. Lisa Gem Rising, selling my house. Hope I get an offer next week. Interesting. Good for you. And Mercury's moving forward. I hope you do too. Hope that pays off for you. Washing dishes, sweeping the floor. Yeah, I like sweeping too. I actually like that too. Gemini rising says, yes, I do balance it out. Boy, it's been bittersweet, and I've been doing a lot of painting, redoing the house. Those are good things to do. All right, so let's keep going. I want to talk about September 26th very briefly, which is the Tuesday, and the only reason is I just like to point out a couple things with the moon. Here's Tuesday here, and there is 5:50. I'm just picking this time to go with, and the reason is the moon in Aquarius is going to trine that Mars in Libra that we got going on, and then it opposes Venus in Leo. So it's funny. It's like this weird continuation of the Chiron story. I mean, these points in time that, anyway, Mars in Libra gets access by the moon, and Venus in Leo gets access by the moon on the same day on Tuesday, and then we get moon am I doing this right? Yeah, moon in Aquarius. It's going to square Uranus and Taurus. So we got the moon here. See, this isn't the right way I should do it, because this is the way I should do it. And this is how live streams go, don't they, Nicholas? They do. So I talk to myself during my live stream. So just to get a clue, that should tell you what kind of sun sign I am. So we're gonna go early back, just because my brain's that way. And now I get to do stuff. We see the moon is at 21 degrees, and it's building up towards a square, towards Uranus and Taurus. And we see the trine that it does to Mars and the opposition to Leo. Very active Aquarius moon. Kind of hitting some points here, right? Points that have been hit a day and a half ago and will get hit again very soon here in a week. So just want to point that out. That happens September 26th, and then 5:18 on September 26th, the moon goes into Pisces. On the skipping to Thursday, the 28th, the moon in Pisces is going to make aspects to Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And then at 5:17 p.m. on Thursday, the 28th, we have Mars into Aries, which sets up huge day of the month for the next 30 days. And it has to do with the full moon in Aries that's going to kick in here. And I'll show this to you, full moon in Aries. And before we get going in here, I set something up here. I did something earlier. What did I do? Oh, there it is. This is how I started. September 24th, as in today, Moon Pluto conjunction. Mars opposite Chiron in Libra, or Chiron in Aries. And September 25th, Mercury trine Virgo, which I talked about. And here we get into full moon in Aries at 2:57 a.m. on Friday morning, early Friday morning, which is basically brewing all week into Thursday night, into Friday morning at 2:57 a.m. It's 6 degrees. And so here we have that, and a wild, amazing, rambunctious full moon that's happening. I'm going to put something in front of the screen here, and hopefully it shows up, because it's a little lesson for you if you're using software. Sometimes you can have a listings. So I already know, right? But I pull up things like this, and I'm like, what's the closest aspects that are happening astrologically? This is what software can do sometimes, and what you could train your head to do with an ephemeris. But what can you do? So we know that basically you see in, and I'll enlarge this even more. Well, it's not going to enlarge because the way my software is. But here we see the sun, right? And the moon, that's an opposition or opposite to each other, and the orb is 0. That means it's exact. The mathematical things, they're exact. So we know at 2:57 a.m. Pacific, there's this tight opposition that happens. That's a full moon, right? So we have that. But I'm also looking at the rest of the day quickly. I already know this stuff, but we look at the next tightest thing that's applicable for you watching, anybody watching in the future. And it has to do with Uranus squaring Venus. Venus square Uranus at 0 degrees. So let's start there. Okay, we'll break this down in a different way today. So that's what's going on. The third time that Venus, Uranus square, Venus and Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus for the third time since June, pretty much. And it culminates here during the full moon. So let's point out the moon at 6 degrees and the sun at 6 degrees. Okay? Then we're going to point out Uranus at 22. Okay? And Venus at 22. So these two are squaring each other. This is combustive. Okay? So we got that. But we also know, if we look at the moon in Aries, sun in Libra, we know that the moon in Aries is ruled by Mars. Okay? Where's Mars? In Libra. Okay? And we know the sun in Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus, Mars. Okay? I started off the live stream talking about Venus and Mars. Here we go. So there, we come back with the square. So we got a rebellious Venus in her own right that is electrically charged by Uranus, setting Venus off. Okay? And then we have a story of Mars ruling and fueling the moon in Aries. And it's a funny one because it doesn't flow per se. Because it's what they call, in a weirdest way, there's some sort of connection here. But Mars in Aries doesn't really have at home there and doesn't really flow there, but it's fueling and it's bringing its story of the relationship game and political relationship game, the chess match of relationships, and it's fueling this hot Aries moon. Okay, so you could see the weird trying to balance it all between this full moon, and it's off. To me, it's off. Now there's something to be found here, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, because I want to stick on this. This is the last major aspect that Venus is doing in Leo with anything. There's an aspect coming up where Venus is going to deal with the nodes. Okay? It's going to basically trine the north node in Aries. You could see it happening already. You could see Venus is already building 2 degrees off, 22 degrees, and it wants to trine the node of Aries. Okay, so we see that. That's another aspect coming for Venus and Leo before she leaves and goes into Virgo. And you see that's a sextile with the south node. Okay, cool, fine. Get that out of the way. But we want to talk about this. The rebel planet. This is difference. This is abruption. This is rebellion. Venus in Leo here has done this 2 other times and faltered in a sense, or tried. It crashed into a wall before the retrograde happened with Venus in Leo and then Deering. Okay, and here is the final third hit. All right? So, let's go there. First time this happened, just get a clue for you people who've been affected by this Venus and Leo transit. Okay, I'm reviewing this with you. First time this happened was July 2nd at 21 degrees. Second time, during the retrograde, this is like 4 days before Venus went in and was Cazimi with the sun, by the way, was 22 degrees. And here we are on the 29th. It just so happens to be on the full moon. You know, just so you know exactly, it happens 10:52 a.m. Full moon is earlier, but it's there. And it happens at 22 degrees. So basically, you're going to look at that point of your chart and know that this sweet spot of 22 degrees or whatever, if you especially have stuff in fixed signs there, is up here. And again, rebellion, abruption, electric unpredictability, surprise. A surprise. Part of this, too, has to do with the way relationships work. And, you know, since we're pointing out a relationship story with the full moon, with the moon being in Aries, sun being in Libra, this is the Mars-Venus story. It's a relationship-infused full moon that is really the gateway to eclipse season in October. And we have it. We have this thing. We have this particular abruption that's happening with Venus. There's a rebellious quality. But here's another way you can look at this. And, you know, in love, there's many different aspects and phases to stories of love. Intimate love, all types of love, organic wholeness love, the love that intertwines all of us, the love that intertwines ourselves with ourselves, first and foremost, Venus and Leo. But let's just say it's the other, whatever it is. This square just reinforces to me the idea of freedom and loving. And this is is dependent on what your version of freedom and loving is. Some people need a lot of space for love to flow. So in one way, you have that. You would think that's more of an Aquarius idea. Like, give me the space. I give them the space. Alternative relationship structures. I got to do it my own way. I can't do it like the normal people do it. So it's not the same here, but there's a little bit of that because there's more than a little bit because of Uranus being involved. But it's in a fixed sign here. So I think space is huge here. It's space in the space for love to the flame. The flame of love needs oxygen at times, or else you put out the flame. So there's lessons here. Does Venus and Leo, in the way they profess their creativity and how they want to run in relationships and how they're dripping with honey right now and how effing hot they are and how they need to do those things and show us those things and are representative of those things, we like this. This is good. A long journey. But in the end here, there's one more thing here. There's one more wild lesson for Venus and Leo to learn. And hopefully it's had 2 other chapters in this, like I show you those dates. So hopefully if you're on it, you know what it is and you get to apply it and use Uranus to create that freedom in whatever way that what love is for you all or for the Leo part of your chart. Some people are going to say, I'm free, like they break up. Could be. The other way is they're in a relationship with somebody and they've been working on ways to bring it to a new evolutionary point in the relationship. And here, the third time of trying with Uranus, and mind you, as a reminder, Venus hit Jupiter 3 times. Venus hit Chiron here. I talked about this in the beginning of this live stream. It all kind of comes to this place. And, how you use this and how this happens to you is key. But the key thing to remember is freedom of love. And that means many different things. I gave you a couple examples. Different attachment schemes, different ways of conducting and manifesting with money because Venus rules finances, different things coming out of the blue. There could be a shocker that happens this whole week that's already been brewing, but at the same time, you've had a clue because this has already happened multiple times during the summer. The storyline hasn't gone away. Shouldn't be a surprise. If it is, I hope it's a good one and you get off on that. And, it could be just a different way of kissing, really. You're gonna go make out this week or make out this weekend on the full moon and it's contentious with Aries moon and fire. The Aries moon is sextiling Venus, fire. Chiron's still there. Maybe it's just a simple new way of a kiss. One that's juicy, one that comes from the core, one that says, I love you. In a fantastical, electrical, surprising, maybe unusual way. So I wanted to point this out. And now I will tell you more about this full moon, what in the weirdest, interesting way, because you have an opposition, you have Mars being funky, being in Libra, but there's something really cool, I think, it can help all of this. And it actually has to do with a sextile that is happening between 22 degrees Leo and the 21 degrees Mars and Libra. Air and fire are connecting here in an opportunistic way. There is a gateway to the surprise and to the basic core functioning. We're looking at the emotional nurturing and expression that's happening through an Aries moon. Like, be warm. I want to hug you. I want to kiss you. These are my feelings. No filters with Mars, with moon in Aries. And Mars is setting that off in this relationship game. But if you use Venus and Leo and the unpredictability with its connection with Uranus and this new way of loving, and you look at Mars and Libra, they're connecting here. There is a place. There is a place in altar for something to happen. Does it get easier after this? I don't think so for a Libra Aries cruise. I don't, because the eclipses are coming there. I don't think. Mars is going to set off with Pluto down the line. But we don't have to be clueless. And I dig in this. I think it's very passionate. And I think it could be very honest in the end. Because, we dig it. And I think the buildup of the week with the positive messaging of Mercury, the positive thinking, to this point of raw, honest profession from the Aries moon that might feel weird with the Mars and Libra on the other side, with landmines of political chess match, political relationship games that can happen with Mars and Libra. Mars and Libra isn't being straightforward. They're beating around the bush. They're trying to find the non-caustic way of speaking truth or having the conversation at the relationship table. And Mars and Aries is like, this is what you really mean. You just never say it straightforward. It could work that way. But again, I showed you Venus, Mars have a sextile here. And we're like, there is some sort of conduit of connection and opportunity. And sextiles are very brief, so you got to jump in all the way. But remember, Uranus is squaring Venus here, so it's unpredictable at the same time. And I think you're going to get clarity by the end of this week. A lot of the clarity in the Venus in the Leo part of your chart really comes through this week, and then this full moon. It's an unforgettable one. And so I want to point that out to you. There's something even amazing, less than 24 hours, that happens from this full moon that I think helps this, and it actually contributes to the what I'm going to really call this live stream, what it's really about. It's about adaptation and a lesson about adaptation. And here's the reason why. We basically are talking about a full moon here that's basically in cardinal signs. The initiatory thing, they start something. They lead. Sometimes you catch the cardinal signs, right? You got Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. They start things. They're in positions in life where they're starting things. Cancer's going to do it the emotional way. Libra's going to do the politics and balance of relationships, right? Aries is, I'm coming out of the damn ground and I need to be me, fueling into the world. Capricorn, they're going to start the maturity process, right? What it is to be something in this world, to fulfill that in a Saturnian-based way. Okay, cardinal signs, right? Then we have fixed signs that are after cardinal. They take what cardinal started and they make sure it keeps going. Fixed. Stubbornly at times. So, we got major cardinal action going on, right? Boom and boom, right? Libra birthdays. But you have this major fixed energy going on. So it's a fixed square, so it's tightly wound up to explode with Uranus squaring Venus. But we've had practice with this. But then you have an ego Venus and Leo and an air Mars and Libra that need a little bit of conduit. So there is a relationship of the mind with ego. Like there's this expression, impossible something with the sextile I brought up between the two. Now, where does adaptation come into all of this? Because you have cardinal stuff and fixed. They're not, modality-wise, they're not adaptable. Who is adaptable? And let's get to that. And it happens the next day. No, it actually builds up. Yes, it happens on the next day, on the 30th. And I will bust this a day later so you can see how I look at things. And we will look at a specific time that happens at 9:55 a.m. on Saturday the 30th. And let's just get it up to that point really close as best as I can without spending too much time. Well, hey, that's pretty good. So there. Now, what am I talking about here? If we're going to think adaptable, we think mutable. Cardinal starts the season. Fixed takes what was started in the season and keeps it going. What's after that? The third month of a season. It's always a mutable sign. and the mutable gets ready and takes what was going on through the 2 previous signs, 2 months, and starts to get ready and adapts. They're mutable. It adapts, and it gets ready to set up the next season that starts. So what am I getting to? I'm pointing to Mercury here that's really speeding up fast in Virgo at 22 degrees. Now it's flowing. We just had the connection with Mercury-Jupiter. In the beginning of this live stream that happened on the Monday, positive thoughts, enhanced quest of knowledge. Okay? We get through everything here with an intense full moon. It's still the byproduct is happening the next day. We're still in full moon land here. But Mercury continues the adaptability because it trines Uranus in Taurus. The same Uranus in Taurus that squared Venus in Leo. Right? The same Uranus in Taurus has been around retrograde. Here we have, within a week, Mercury hitting Uranus. And here we bring the adaptability in. And it's one you could not be used to. And it falls into that place of abruption again. But I think here we're used to this at this point, and we encourage the abruption. We encourage the freedom-seeking alternative ways, weirdo ways of going off on tangents and bringing it back. But mostly Uranus comes in to strike like a lightning bolt what is not is old and to bring in something new. Rapid lightning ideas. A continuation of Mercury Jupiter during the week. Continuation of the full moon. This is imprinted in the full moon. I just didn't bring it up with that chart, but it's there because it's applying. It's part of the full moon. So we have this electrical weekend coming up. So this Mercury bringing in a uniqueness with thought and word. Uranus, uniqueness. There's a bright idea, an invention of sorts of the mind. Invention, bright idea, Uranus connecting with Mercury. We have this place of adaptability and mutability. It happens in a grounded earth way. Even though it's unpredictable, I think it helps balance the square that Uranus has with Venus, the combustion part of the full moon, all that kind of stuff, the intensity of it. And here we have something really cool. And it's so, in the funniest ways, it's a mercurial week again. And I think it's a go-to place. So you have in certain things, it's like, how are you communicating in love? Venus and Leo story. What is coming through in the earth parts of your chart here that now that Mercury is finally moving forward? Because during the retrograde, I lost my credit card during the retrograde. There's no charges on it. And by the way, I lost my credit card. I got to tell you this. I lost my credit card. I talk about it on the stream in May. When Mercury was retrograde in Taurus in May, I lost my credit card. I lost another credit card. Anyway, stuff funny like that happens. But back to the adaptability portion of all this, I have my own theory on all of this. And this adaptability, this uniqueness of process that happens with Mercury touching Uranus, Mercury and Virgo, the forward-thinking aspect of things. These are places that, in a sense, Mars in Virgo is already done. Mercury in Virgo is already touching upon, where it already was opposite Saturn in Pisces. It was already opposite Neptune in Pisces. It trined Jupiter. It's trining Uranus. After this forecast we get in next week, it's going to trine Pluto. Mars in Virgo already did that. Mercury's already did that. The Sun in Virgo already did it. Venus in Leo has hit a lot of the outer body planets, as you've seen here. But the reason why I'm talking about adaptability, and this is my weird little theory that came up when I woke up in the middle of the night, it actually has to do, in the end, with Venus and Leo. And the reason is once Venus in Leo leaves the 6th, 7th of October, then it's like the trailing planet. It goes into Virgo, and it's going to hit all these places that Mars already did in Virgo, the Sun and the Mercury retrograde did in Virgo. Right? So here, a fixed Venus in Leo, which has been in a fixed sign since June because of the retrograde, is going to enter an adaptable, mutable sign in October and gets to be adaptable and shed some of the fixed. And we have clues here with Mercury in Virgo giving us the enlightened clues this week, and with hitting Jupiter and with hitting Uranus, because Venus is going to do the same thing down the line. Venus is going to be in Virgo, is going to be opposite Saturn. Venus-Saturn opposition. It's going to be, it's going to vibe. It's going to be opposite Neptune. It's going to be doing the same thing. It's going to vibe and trine all the Earth stuff, right? Taurus stuff, Pluto and Capricorn stuff. So you see why I'm bringing this up. I think it is the lesson in it to one can take from the Venus and Leo story. It doesn't end there. It's a continuation of the Venus process, and it gets help, I think, in Virgo, especially at this particular time in our life, like in this next month and a half. And this comes into a deeper picture because when we have the eclipses go down here, 14th happens, the eclipse, okay? One of the eclipses. I don't want to go too far ahead, but it's there, right? So in Libra. So that's Venus, ruled by there. This point, Venus is in Virgo. And we have a different way of Venus functioning, and it's an inward process in my mind of details and kind of piecing out what doesn't work still, and helps really a long-term Venus and Leo story. I know that might sound weird and off-putting, but I like to think about how adaptation is key in a lot of storylines that are coming from a fixed place. And so if there's been a lot of fixed energy we've had this summer with Venus and Leo, I think we need the adaptability of Venus and Virgo, and we've already had much of it mapped out by Mars and by Mercury. So those are my thoughts. And so we get into that happens. My long-winded thing about Mercury trine Uranus happens officially at 9:55 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday. I can get into the next day because the next day happens to be October 1st. But as any good storyteller, which I'm trying to be on YouTube and for the rest of my life, any whatever would tell you that you don't give everybody the full story. You don't tell everybody everything. You got to keep a sense of mystery. So you could break that mystery by looking at the transits, some big stuff that happens on Monday with Mercury and all that. And hopefully I will do another forecast. So that was my weird forecast of the week. I'm stopping myself right now from talking about the first 2 weeks of October, because October is so power-packed in a different way. And, one thing we know is Pluto's going to station forward in Capricorn. Okay, so let's just get that. Let's just say this for this stream, that we know that Pluto's going to move a station forward. Hell, I'll skip ahead. That's going to happen on October 10th. This is before the eclipse. So we know that 27, 28, 29 degrees of Capricorn, which is basically the beginning of this year, and then in March when Pluto went into Aquarius for a while, then stopped, went to retrograde, and then this whole summer has been going backwards and hitting these places. We have the station. If we do astrology and we're learning, we pay attention to retrograde stations going forward, and when planets go retrogrades, because we could start to see the tie-in. And I think here, this month coming up in October, on the world level, for this country's level, whatever, there's a lot that's about to happen here politically. And for anybody individually that has, stuff at cardinal degrees, at 27 to 29 degrees cardinal. So just a heads up on that. There's that kind of Pluto movement. When Pluto stations forward, it's not like Mercury, like it's going to start moving degrees. It stays there for a while. So think about this. A outer body planet's going to station and start to move forward, but it's not like 1 degree each day. It doesn't work that way. It stays locked in slowly in this place. So you could see the type of power play that's coming our way this month in the cardinal parts of your chart and out there politically in the mundane astrology world. I'm not going to say too much more to that, but that is something you should just know that is happening. And what else? That's it for the forecast. Like some of you who've been watching me know I pull a couple surprises on you. Not so surprises. And sometimes I do a book review, and I have one for you. Okay, I have one, and it just so happens that I pulled this book off the shelf because it popped in my brain, and it might be one that I've talked about already. Prometheus, the Awakener. An essay on the archetypal meaning of the planet Uranus. Hey, by our Neptunian brilliant colleague, astrology colleague, Richard Tarnas. This is one of the best books you can get on Uranus from the myth and archetypal perspective, to the point where Richard in a book says it should have never been called Uranus. It should have been called Prometheus. I agree, just because of whatever. I get why homeboy is saying that. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna read you something here, and I just it's weird how I pull this off the shelf and I open it up to this, and some of this might make sense. Okay, and this has to do with a part of the book that says Uranus aspects with inner planets. Okay, given Mercury's archetypal association with movement and as well as communication, I found it of interest that Mercury-Uranus natal aspects occurred frequently with persons in whom communication was expressed through the active movement in highly creative and unorthodox ways. For example, okay, he brings this stuff up. Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Marcel Marceau. He's bringing up old school actors, by the way. All born, he says, all born with major Mercury-Uranus aspects, all three being geniuses of movement with unusual styles of communication involving various characteristics of the trickster. Extraordinary cleverness and inventiveness, levity and wit, surprise and unexpected timing, rapidity of movement, and repeated sudden shifts of meaning. In further variation on Mercury Prometheus themes, I found that Alfred Hitchcock and Agatha Christie, both noted for ingenuity of their sudden and startling plot twists, unexpected shifts of meaning, and surprise endings, were also born with these two planets in major aspect. Now you know why I pulled the book off the shelf. That's what's coming your way this week. We have full moon. We got a bunch of stuff. Venus square Uranus. But we got a Mercury-Uranus building all week here in a trine on Saturday. It's a book called Prometheus the Awakener. And this is the point where I put in affiliate links. And if I have my S together, I already swore on my stream, didn't I? If I have my S together, as they say, I will do this for you. Oh, and I'm going to do this the hard way. And I got to go to my YouTube channel to do this, which is funny. I haven't looked at the chat, my friends, and I apologize. And I'm about to do that right now. So I'm going to drop this link for Prometheus the Awakener in here. And let's start here. So these are affiliate links. If you do this, buy these books, they help me out. I get a little bit of dough. It's a small piece of dough. It's not that much, but I'm getting to the big parts in life. Like eventually, I'm thinking down the line, like if 500 people bought the book, which would be wild. That's a revolution. So that is Prometheus the Awakener. There, I will show you. The book here is kind of a newer form. Sometimes you can find the old version that looks like this, right? So that's what was up there. Okay, and I'll get to the chat in a second. And so I just wanted to point that out. I also wanted to point out on my website a funny weird link thing that I built by myself. I'll put that there. The reason why is because You as a YouTube watcher can donate to the stream. On the side where the chat box is on the bottom, you see a dollar symbol, and you can throw some money in the tip jar. And YouTube takes 30%. I get 70. If you go to the links there, you can see my Venmo link and my PayPal link. The other part of my life that I'm going to build here, and I'm on it, is my Patreon. And I'll get to that in a second. I don't want to per se push that right now, but I just, I have to mention that. So that is the book I wanted to mention today. This is my website. That's a picture of me. I look so intense. I look so fixed. I look so scorpionic mixed with something. So I want to bring this up. Let's get to chat. And let me catch up. And I apologize, chat. And I'm seeing a lot of people watching today and right now. Thank you for sticking in there with me and going with my flow, with who I am, and so on and so forth. So let's get to a little bit of chat action. I just see people recognizing and saying degrees of the chart. Tina's singing a song. Tina Reynolds singing a song in there. And the house Oftwigs, good to see you. Heart Ray, if you're in chat, I see you in chat. Good to see you. Do fixed signs have better days ahead? You have no choice. Positive thinking, remember? Mercury, Jupiter. So yeah, actually, and so, I see someone else in chat that has enlightened my world, Ben Commons, with salt. I still have the salt that you gave me, and it's like an amazing ritual of salt that I put on things. So thank you, Ben Commons. Ben it's a fellow colleague and astrologer who knows so much. Brilliant mind. Ben, good to see you, brother. Good to see you in chat, man. Sarah, thank you, Sarah, for saying that. April Heller. Hey, April. Late to the party. That's when the party gets going. Good to see you, April. Any of you watching, you could drop anything you want in the chat. You want to say something to me, ask me questions, say what's up. I'll try to answer them. I'm an hour into the streams. I'm not going to spend too much more time here because I have some stuff I got to work on. You got it, Ben. Blessings to you, brother, and happy equinox, Ben. Jay Peterson, I'm glad you're happy to be here. So adaptability this week. Electrical currents. Venus and Leo going out maybe with style, a new kind of style. Venus and Leo. I saw a version. I saw a version of Venus and Leo last night, actually. One that was humbled. Can a Venus and Leo be humbled? And I saw it. And it wasn't really humbled, actually. It was real. And if I'm on my deathbed, and I think about this all the time. I'm a Saturnian fool, so I'm always thinking about death. But what do you think about? You ever think about this? Like, if you were on your deathbed, what would come to you in those moments, that week? What would then be considered the most important thing? And it's the little things. I don't think it's the car. Fuck it, it's not the car, okay? It's not. It's not the material shit. It's the major life stuff. I'm going to think about the first kisses I've ever had innocently. Think about my family or those memories. And think about the ones who we were in love and the ones that lasted. And the other things I think about is simple moments of beauty. And I saw that last night. And I saw it in a deep place. And I didn't say that. I said it inside, but I saw it. And I was reminded of realizations, what realizations are. And when you see it happen too with outside of you, there's the realizations you have with yourself. But then when you see it outside of you, someone you know, and you see something clear or open or click. I saw it a long time ago or whatever. I'm just waiting for it to happen. It's not up to me. It's not my story. But as an exchange, as the exchange of creative energy and the generosity, that the pure generosity involved, and I bring up those words with Venus and Leo, I saw it, and I saw the beauty in this nobility, in truth. And there wasn't a bragging. There wasn't this kind of thing that Leos get a bad rap on. And I know there was a lot of bragging by some of the Venus and Leo this summer because they had to, but then they were kind of faltered and fell on their face a little bit in their own ways, and they learned, and they're coming through now. And I think part of what happens this week in this Uranus thing, and when Venus leaves, I think is a silent beauty that has to do with what it means to be transformed and to go through a death and rebirth process, and what that does to a person, what that does to Venus and Leo. And in that is creativity, and the beauty never leaves. They might have thought it left, or they might have looked in the mirrors. I wasn't looking well. It's not flowing for me. My relationships are, and I have people from the past coming up, retrograde, But all in all, you're looking at themselves. Well, I was a mirror. I saw it last night, and I was like, all right, not only does astrology work, but beyond all this, when you see truth in that way, it's just like it feels, or the feeling that, or this vision that comes to me is like the creation of the universe, or the time you kiss somebody out of pure innocence, and that doesn't go away. That's always there. You have that connection to the world and life, or a person that you love in some sort of way, beyond the scars and the wounding, and you evolve and you show it, and it isn't a fabrication. It's real. So for those out there who have had a Venus and Leo story going down, I hope and wish for that for you. And if you're not feeling that, it's not there yet, maybe you'll catch it here soon, or maybe it's a little bit down the line, but it's always there. It's just when you're ready. I was just fortunate enough last night to see it, and nothing mattered at that point. That's why I bring up the most important things in life, where if you were to look back, and I had one of those moments last night. And so I get to the chat in a second here, but I didn't plan on that and to talk about Venus and Leo, but we're getting towards the end of the transit. And it's cool to see the journey and lessons that are learned and then applied, even though it's still raw. It's fucking beautiful. Titine X, I see you in chat. I've also seen Venus and Leo humbled this year, and it was interesting for all meanings of that word. Well said, Titine X. Jendi in chat, Venus and Leo native here. Gonna say the past few months have been raw and more vulnerable than Leo would prefer, LOL. Thanks for being real, Jendi. Always family, Gemini rising. Leo's son that also been humbled by vulnerability, but thankful for it. I feel you, Titine X. Heart Ray in chat says, yeah, Mercury retro. Glad it's past. Bear ran into my car, among other delights. I'm glad you can see the delight in that all. That's a rare moment, that the bear running into your car. I wonder what bear energy is. Maybe I'll look that stuff up, like bear symbolism. Aqua Gem, it's amazing to witness beauty. It is, and it's always there. And it's always there. When you're ready to have it be revealed to yourself, or, all you got to do is look in the mirror. Jay Peterson, you're making me cry because I've been going through rebirth. Right on, Jay Peterson. You're in a profound moment then, my friend. Thank you for sharing that. The house off wigs. Oh, hey, Erica. Yeah, I should know this. Hey, Nicholas. Erica here. I have Uranus at 25 degrees in Scorpio, 7th house. Can I just catch a break here because I love me some Uranus? I am hoping for that happy, lovely surprise. I think you and I could talk about this, but I think you have an interesting week ahead of you. And we'll check in. We'll check in and see what happens after this weekend for you. And maybe you will have that surprise. Remember, sometimes we create the fertile ground for the surprise. All right? So heart rate, deathbed, who knows? Thinking might not be happening. Don't let that get to you. I'm the Saturnian death person here. James Sanders says, Matt Christman said, on our deathbed, it is not the lights going out, but all the lights finally turning on. That is good. Heart Ray, I saw my dad die, but he saw something that made his face turn into a childlike wonder. That's a good way right there. I'm glad he caught that. James Sanders in chat says, it's a moment to realize that all of our fears and regrets do not matter, but part of a greater narrative. It is. And it's sometimes it's just weird how that stuff happens in life. But again, from my experience, it happens in the most simplest ways. Tita Reynolds in chat says, my dad spoke to an empty chair when he was close to the end. And it was someone he knew, but he hadn't seen in a while, and was hearing beautiful music. That's cool, Tina. Thank you. James, thank you to everyone for sharing. Nicholas for his excellent storytelling. Thank you, James. It's a goal of mine to get better. I think I caught up in chat there. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for your honesty and for listening to another Venus and Leo, something that I've done over the last so many months, so on and so forth. So, hey, I did a book. I won't do anything more. It's time for me to kind of slowly sign off here, and the way that I do, like this. And what's going on? I'm going to hopefully work on a video if I have time this week. A surprise is coming your way. For people who know me or watching me or your first timer here, there's a surprise coming. And I will see what happens, but it's there, and hopefully you'll know about it, and I'll tell you about it. I am behind the scenes working on some projects. I'm going to say this out loud. I said this to my Patreon members last night. I also am doing my first public astrology lecture October 12th in Seattle. It's going to be available on Zoom too, and I have a lot of work to do. You see me do this thing here on YouTube for the last year and a half, 2 years. Some of you have been on this journey. I know more people coming my way because you know my goals. I'm going for 50,000 subscribers in 5 years. I'm just trying to do it. And so it's like, here I am. You know how I am. I have my ways on camera. Sometimes I'm just totally over the top mercurial. Other times I do my stuff and I'm quiet. But, speaking publicly is something I've never done. And it's making me nervous. So I have to deal with that. I have no choice. I said yes to it. I'm doing it as to walk through fire. And fire. That's what we get from our ego sign, from our ego selves. But the Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, that's what they give us. They go walk through fire. Venus and Leo just walk through fire and is still on fire in a good way. So thank you, Venus and Leo, on this Venus and Leo candle. I'm using that. I got to walk through fire. So saying that, I'm gonna hopefully do this lecture. I'll advertise it and somehow walk through the fire. Okay, so that's what's going on, and other things I'm working on. So I'm super busy. It's hard for me to get to messages right now, but I did open up certain blocks for one-on-one readings in the next couple weeks. It really opens up after the 14th of October. But what's really there is a surprise. And it's like, okay, good. I need that. So if you're going to talk to anyone and see the transits manifest, Jupiter and Taurus, Uranus and Taurus, Venus and Leo, it's happening to me. So I want to thank everybody in chat. Eight of Wands energy going on. Sam, yeah, I will. You'll see me talk about the lecture. It's a paid one, but if you want to. Thank you, Casey. Good to see you in chat, Casey. And I want to thank everybody, Heart Ray, Sam, everybody who joined in on the chat today. And yeah, I just got to get my head together and eat some food after this and work on some other things. Jendi, thank you for the sweet comment. You'll do great. Thank you, Jendi. And Sarah, yes, share the info. Sarah, a fellow astrologer here in the Portland area. So yeah, let's go out here. Once again, just to I have, if I can always make a couple bucks off a stream, please do. I'll drop this in chat. You can donate to me here on YouTube. You could send me a PayPal. You could send me a Venmo, which whatever. I have my Patreon here, which I'll drop this in chat. I just added a $10 tier. I'm talking to I have 2 people signed up, a couple more. I'm going to do an experimental Patreon Zoom stream just for my Patreon members, like a lot of other people do for the tiers, to get that going so I could feed the $10 tier and see where it goes. Julie, good to see you. Good to see you. I know you're working on your forearm and backhands. And so, there's my Patreon. Donate after, share the video, the whole deal. Follow me on Instagram, all that. Let's go out here. Let's go out with what I like to do. And I want to thank Hermes Avalis, Dasman, Natalie. You rock, my friend. You are so amazing and great at what you do. And sky's the limit for you. One of the best electional practitioners and makers and more, HermesAvalis.com. Please go to her site. Please follow her on Instagram, Hermes Avalis. I'll throw that one more time in the chat. And by the way, here's a little secret for you. I think she's about to have a sale in the next 24 hours. And so hit that up. There's still one candle there that I can't believe no one's bought, and it's the Jupiter and Pisces one. So there is in chat. All right. Thanks, Ben. Take a bath. We look forward to insightful celestial play. Cool. All right, let's do it. Let's say goodbye. And I'm going to do it my way, as I always do. Let's see. That's not... No. What did I... Is it here? Hello. That's where it is. Let me know if you can hear that. I am utterly grateful, universe, because the stream didn't crash, and I made it through another day. And I woke up this morning and I said, I got so much to do. My place is a mess, and I'm riding the edge, and I'm riding a wave. But I'm here, and I'm alive. And I'm doing this, and I'm climbing the mountain. And the cool thing is, I'm not alone climbing the mountain. There is you listening right now, those watching later, the person who never has showed up before and maybe stuck around. I'm glad you're here. We're all climbing the mountain. We're all intertwined and enjoying the views together. See the sun in you. You are unique, beautiful, and incredible.